After our last call and everything you kind of discussed with me, everything, it started making some clicks in my head in terms of things I'd been doing. So, don't have solutions to everything yet, but at least I'm down the path. Thank you very much for just pointing all that out to me. I was like, just wondering why I just kept on going back into those patterns that were limiting me. And it's, yeah, definitely a belief of lack, basically. The reason why I chose to work with you mainly was because I just had such great success with you in the past. Being able to have just the personal attention that you can kind of give to my situation and not only just look at the things that may have been in my mind, in front of my mind that week, but also kind of circle back to other things that had been going on maybe previous weeks or even months ago and be able to link things together. That was really valuable for me.
What do you feel that you got out of working with me that you may not have got someplace else?
I think just permission to be okay with where I was at. Be honest with you, I thought that I was running behind. I thought I had a lot of things that were still not being done correctly. But you just kind of telling me attaboy in some ways. I was like an older brother type. That actually did help me more than I thought it was going to help me. I was kind of putting a lot of pressure on myself to get things done. Just having the outside person say, yeah, you're actually doing pretty well. You don't need to be all like about everything. That was really helpful, surprisingly. The struggles and challenges I had, along with recognizing the strengths that I have. Like, I guess that was my point. My first point is like the whole attaboy thing was like, yeah, I was actually leveraging some of my strengths, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, thinking those strengths were strengths. There were more weaknesses. So you're being more objective about where I was at and telling me I need to let off the gas in certain parts of my life, but at the same time, maybe focus a little bit more on other things and maybe shine a flashlight in those dark parts I had kind of forgotten about.
Cool. What results do you feel that you have gained and are using now that you maybe didn't have like 3 months ago?
Well, to give a context to people who don't know the work we've done, most of the work that I did with Dave was around health. So a lot of the health issues I had, I was trying to address for years in terms of improper eating, improper diet, improper sleep habits, and then also those compounded into other various health habits that were offshoots of just not taking better care of myself. So a lot of the coaching around that was really around health, being able to recognize, that change was going to be gradual versus trying to implement everything at once. So just giving a little bit more of a reasoned, level-headed, expectation of you can gradually implement things and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to run out of time, sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed the fact that we looked at things from a goal-oriented perspective, but we didn't put the pressure on too much unless you wanted to in certain areas, but also at the same time, you liked the fact that you had permission to let off the gas.
Yes, that's a good summary of what I was trying to say. That's perfect.
What would you say to someone who's skeptical of spending money on themselves by hiring a coach?
I like to think of it not as like if I'm spending X amount of dollars, I'm trying to save X amount of dollars. If I'm spending X amount of dollars, I'm going to probably save an exponential amount of X amount of dollars, because I'm not going to either do things that are stupid, or I'm going to leverage my time more effectively, or I'm going to have some new ideas that are going to be even better than the ones I may have had just thinking of them myself. And I can say all three of those scenarios came true when I was working with you over the past 3 months in terms of just avoiding things and trying to do things more efficiently, and then even thinking of some new ways to be able to generate better health, generate better finances, and even the foundations for starting to get my dating life back. I think that anybody who's interested in personal coaching, this is a low pressure, not so intimidating way to get started with personal coaching. It's not going to be all in your face immediately, like you need to get X, Y, and Z done. It's going to be more of a holistic approach in terms of being able to evaluate the situation you're in and giving the next step for each possible thing you need to work on or not work on, in terms of just like laying off the gas, like we were saying, or actually putting a focus more onto this portion of your life. I've done personal coaching with other people in the past that have been more type A personalities. And I'm sure you probably have type A stuff in your own personality as well. But in terms of your personal coaching style, at least from what I've experienced, it's more of a holistic, tailored to the person approach where they're not going to be forced into doing something they don't want to necessarily do because it would be the best thing for them. They're going to be guided down the path that's going to be the thing that they can comfortably handle and make good progress on, and be able to have that feedback loop where they can want to do more positive things in their life. So it's a gentler way of being able to make self-improvement happen. I was having issues with my work, where I was working 60 something hours a week under pressure on a lot of projects while I was trying to get these health goals done, and being able to kind of gently say, yeah, you may need to reduce your focus a little bit on your 9 to 5 job while you're working on your health issues, and have faith that the amount of work you're doing, even though it may be less than what you think is expected of you at your 9 to 5, is still going to be enough to be able to get your career goals finished. At the same time, be able to allow that space for the health to improve. That's an example of holistic, where you're not just focusing on how do I make my career better, how do I make my health better, how do I make my dating and relationships better, or whatever else in my life is better. You're looking at the whole picture of, okay, this is dominating his time a little bit too much. We need to kind of shrink that responsibility a little bit, so this way he can have a little bit of space to open up this portion of his or her life. I was just going to say, on a personal note, just thank you again for making the offer to me. It was really a pleasure and honor. I look to work with you again in the future, obviously, at a future point. But I'd say anybody else who's watching this testimonial right now, definitely consider working with Dave. He really knows this stuff in terms of having life experience across a broad range of subjects, and being able to understand somebody's situation pretty quickly and be able to intuit what the next couple of good things to do would be for your life. And then obviously with each call, they're going to be able to build upon that, but it's not going to be this overwhelming, intimidating process that you may think of when you think of life coaching or personal development or anything like that.
Awesome, man. Thank you. That was amazing.